Hello again. In the comments yesterday here, somebody asked, apropos of nothing in particular, who owned the Empire Windrush? This is a coded reference to the idea that black people in Britain and the United States are only present as a result of a stupendous Jewish plan which dates back centuries. The claim is that most of the ships which transported black Africans to North America during the transatlantic slave trade were owned by Jews, and that in this century Jews have played a crucial part in facilitating the immigration to Britain of Africans and Caribbeans. The idea of the ownership of the slave trading ships being mainly Jews was dreamed up 30 years ago by black Muslims in the United States, and I shall perhaps make a video exploring this idea in the future. For now, though, let us focus upon the Empire Windrush. As most viewers will know, this was a ship which offered tickets for sale in Jamaica in the spring of 1948, taking passengers to England. They were not invited, nor were they coming to take up jobs. They rather bought the ticket on spec and hoped for the best. It was a bit of a gamble. But who owned the Empire Windrush at that time? The answer is very simple. It was owned by King George VI, and later it was owned by his daughter, Queen Elizabeth. You see, the Empire Windrush began life as a German cruise ship called the Monte Rosa in 1931. When the Second World War began, she was pressed into service by the German Navy, and in 1942 was used to deport Jews from Norway. In November 1945, 6 months after the end of the war in Europe, the Monte Rosa was seized by the British as a war prize and taken to Britain to be refitted. It was at that point that the vessel became, technically at least, the property of the Crown. Of course, it was actually administered by the government, in this case the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation. So where, you are asking, do the Jews enter into the picture? Well, apart from the Norwegian Jews whose deportation was part of the Holocaust, 2 other Jews had a very tenuous connection with the Empire Windrush. The Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation contracted a commercial company to operate the Windrush on behalf of the British government. This must be where the Jews come into the picture, right? A shipping company in New Zealand was given the task of running the Empire Windrush. Bet that was owned by Jews, wasn't it? Alas, no. Once upon a time in the 19th century, there was a company in New Zealand called the Auckland Shipping Company. There was very stiff competition in the late 19th century between various shipping countries in New Zealand, and a company called simply the New Zealand Shipping Company was founded in 1873 and slowly but surely became the dominant company. In effect, it operated a monopoly in New Zealand on shipping. Other companies went to the wall or were absorbed by the New Zealand Shipping Company. One of the companies which was absorbed in this way before the First World War was called the Auckland Shipping Company, and this had been founded by 2 Jewish brothers at the end of the 19th century. They had no influence whatsoever on the running of the New Zealand Shipping Company, though, and were both dead before the Empire Windrush made that famous voyage across the Atlantic. At no time was the Windrush owned or operated by Jews. This is a complete fiction.